Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Pratyorama mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Today's topic: struggle sincerely to reach the reality. Struggling must be done. Without struggling, we won't get anything. But God has given sufficient power, intelligence to struggle in the right way. For getting success in the exam, how much struggle we do make, what intensity, what focus, total attention on the subject. Same way we should focus our attention completely on the practices. Of course, motivation is important. It's true. In the exam, you are motivated to get success in the subject. Here also, we are motivated in a different way to realize the truth, to see God, to experience immense peace and bliss. But then we have to really do practice sincerely. Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, always keep your mind fixed on God. In the beginning, you must struggle. Later on, you will enjoy your pension. In another place, Sri Ramakrishna said, 4 classes of men are there. There are still other classes and kinds of people. For instance, there are those who are eternally free, those who have attained liberation, those struggling for liberation, and those entangled in the world. So many varieties of men. Sages like Narad and Shukadev are eternally free. They are like a steamship which not only crosses the ocean but can carry big animals, even an elephant. Further, the soul that is eternally free is like the superintendent of an estate. After bringing one part of the estate under control, he goes to another. Those struggling for liberation strive heart and soul to free themselves from the net of the world. One or two of them may get out of the net. They are called the liberated. The souls that are eternally free are like clever fish. They are never caught in the net. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, but the souls that are entangled, involved in worldliness, never come to their senses. They lie in the net, but are not even conscious that they are entangled. If you speak of God before them, they at once leave the place. They say, oh, why God now? We shall think of Him in the hour of death. But when they lie on their deathbeds, what do they think? They say to their wives or children, why have you put so many wicks in the lamp? Use only one wick, otherwise too much oil will be burnt. While dying, they think of their wives and children and weep, alas, what will happen to them after my death? The entangled souls repeat those very actions that make them suffer so much. They are like the camel which eats thorny bushes till the blood streams from its mouth, but still will not give them up. Such a man may have lost his son and be stricken with grief, but still he will have children year after year. He may ruin himself by his daughter's marriage, but still he will go on having daughters every year. And he says, what can I do? It is just my luck. When he goes to a holy place, he doesn't have any time to think of God. He almost kills himself carrying bundles for his wife. Entering the temple, he is very eager to give his child the holy water to drink, or make him roll on the floor. But he has no time for his own devotions. These bound creatures slave for their masters to earn food for themselves and their families. And they earn money how? By lying, by cheating, and by flattery. They laugh at those who think of God and meditate on Him, and call them lunatics. The entangled creatures attached to worldliness, what do they talk? They talk only of worldly things in the hour of death. What will it avail such men if they outwardly repeat the name of God, take a bath in the Ganges, or visit sacred places? If they cherish within themselves attachment to the world, it must show up at the hour of death. While dying, they have nonsense way of thinking. Perhaps They cry out in a delirium. Turmeric powder seasoning, bay leaf, the singing parrot, when at ease, repeats the holy names of Radha and Krishna. When it is seized by a cat, it utters its own natural sound. It quacks, ka, ka. It is said in the Gita that whatever one thinks in the hour of death, one becomes in the afterlife. King Bharat gave up his body exclaiming, dear, 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 and was born as a deer in his next life. But if a man dies thinking of God, then he attains God, and he doesn't have to come back to the life of this world. A Brahmo devotee asked a question. So, sir, suppose a man has thought of God at other times during his life, but at the time of his death forgets him. Would he, on that account, come back to this world of sorrow and suffering? Why should it be so? He certainly thought of God sometime during his life. Master answered, a man thinks of God, no doubt, but he has no faith in him. Again and again he forgets God and becomes attached to the world. It is like giving the elephant a bath. Afterwards, he covers his body with mud and dirt again. The mind is a mad elephant. But if you can make the elephant go into the stable immediately after bathing him, then he stays clean. Just so, if a man thinks of God in the hour of death, then his mind becomes pure and it gets no more opportunity to become attached to lust and gold. Man has no faith in God. That's the reason he suffers so much. They say that when you plunge into the holy waters of the Ganges, your sins perch on a tree on the bank. No sooner do you come out of the water after the bath, then the sins jump back on your shoulders. A man must prepare the way beforehand, so that he may think of God in the hour of death. The way lies through constant practice. If a man practices meditation on God, he will remember God even on the last day of his life. On being asked to free his mind from lust, Swami Brahmanand, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, said to the disciple, well, I could do that, but then, my child, you would lose all the joy of struggle. Life would seem insipid. Struggle to attain the Lord and make this human birth blessed. Life is impermanent. No one knows when it will end. Exert yourself to secure that treasure which will give you immortal life. While you are young and you can struggle to find God, one must strive hard to realize Him. Struggle hard to grow in love for Him. Attain Him. He is the very life of our life, soul of our soul. He is the Lord of our heart. He is our very own. Struggle. Struggle hard to control the outgoing mind and fix it on God. When you can do this, you will realize what joy is in spiritual life. If a man doesn't struggle hard to realize God, he remains steeped in ignorance. Therefore, struggle, and God will be revealed. Accept all trials and tribulations boldly. Welcome them, for through them you shall surely find peace. The taste for spiritual life cannot be had all at once. No, one has to struggle hard for it. All our energies must be concentrated toward that one achievement. They must not be wasted in any other direction. Onward, onward. Never be satisfied with your present state of growth. Try to create a burning dissatisfaction within yourself. Ask yourself, what progress am I making? None. And apply yourself ever more diligently to the task. Is self-surrender possible in a day? When that is achieved, everything is achieved. One must struggle hard for it. Many are the worldly impressions already accumulated in the mind. And many are the impressions created in this life also. As you struggle against them, they will seem to grow stronger, so that he alone truly conquers them, who never loses sight of the ideal and never gives up the struggle. Strive to attain tranquility. Do not give way to inertia, but struggle to gain spiritual calmness. If you allow your mind to wander and lead a purposeless life, a bad reaction is bound to follow. Passions will overcome you. Never give up struggling. Struggle now to reach the reality. Hold on to the pillar. Free yourself from the wheel of birth and death. Be his eternal companion. Have faith and dive deep into the fathomless ocean, and you are sure to find the eternal treasure, the pearl beyond price. Do not lose heart if after a little struggle you fail to find it. The ocean is full of precious pearls, but you may not find them at the first dive. Struggle, struggle, my boy, struggle. Shake off all doubts. Plunge into your spiritual practices as taught by the spiritual teacher. The mind rebels against effort. It always seeks ease and comfort. But if you wish to attain anything, you must force it to struggle. That's the only way to make your mind steady. Do not be restless. Have patience. And go on struggling. Struggle, and you will surely reach the reality. Waste no more precious time in unnecessary thoughts or metaphysical speculations. Do you think there is any fixed catalogued price for so much austerity, so much japa, so much charity, etc. for God realization? None can force realization out of him. But if you don't keep up a regular spiritual struggle, you will not be able to hold it when it comes. Of course, force alone will not help. But if you struggle sincerely, in time he will make your body and mind pure. Struggle hard and install the Lord in your heart by your steady, devout spiritual practice. Then you will have nothing but joy, unalloyed, continuous joy. In this struggle for life, there will always be hope and fear. Life without struggles is no life at all. If man has a continuous flow of happiness and sense enjoyment, then he will never think of higher things about God, soul, etc. And how does such a life differ from that of the brutes? But if there are only fear and misery, they dwarf his growth. They do not allow him to progress. Waste no more time. Struggle every moment to reach the goal and move onward and upward. People keep an account of their dollars and cents. But how many keep account of the valuable hours and moments they waste? Analyze yourself in solitude. Find out the obstacles and then struggle without compromise to remove them. Practice. Struggle. Struggle hard. Nothing is ever achieved without a struggle. Struggle hard to have love and devotion for him, and you will attain him. He is the very life of our life, the soul of our soul. But you must struggle sincerely. Does one find circumstances always propitious? Consider what you have got to do as your duty and go on. Are you not undecaying and immortal always? So why should you go about seeking favorable circumstances? It is you who have projected all this. People say, what he wishes will come to pass. He means God. Well, will the wish arise in him without any struggle on your part? Only when the wings are tired does a bird sit on the mast of a ship for rest. Only when you have struggled your utmost will real resignation come. How can you struggle against evil tendencies if your intellect is not trained to differentiate between good and evil? As long as there is intense struggle, there are still desires which tie us up to the world. We have not realized yet its complete hollowness. When we realize that, the way is easy. You say that samsara is a place of great temptation. That is indeed true. But do you know, the strong adverse winds serve but to confirm the roots of a weak tree. The good moral principles which are now not so strong in you are sure to get firmly rooted by an incessant struggle with temptations. Constant exercise and struggle improve one's physical health, and our mental health too is not above this law. Of course, the ground is too slippery to allow man to walk on without a fall, but he is sure to pass over the slough if he pushes on boldly without caring much for any fall in his onward march. He should always look forward and march on boldly, falling and rising, but never succumbing, till he is sure of having reached a place where the ground is clear of dirt and where he meets the one thing of his desire, the divine one for whom he has been laboring so long. Do not care if you slip occasionally. To err is human. Do not lose heart. Walk firmly onward. No man can hope to get through this slimy path of the world unscathed. And it is rank foolishness to sit down in the midst of the mire for fear of falling in the attempt to get across. Do not forget the golden precept. Try, try, try again. Remember Bruce of Scotland, who though defeated 6 times, conquered at last the 7th time. Science is the struggle of man in the outer world. Religion is the struggle of man in the inner world. Science makes man struggle for truth in the outside universe, and religion makes him struggle for truth in the inside universe. Both struggles are great, no doubt, but one ends in success and the other ends in failure. That's the difference. Religion begins where science ends. Struggle hard, and if in the course of that struggle your foot slips and you have to fall several times, what does that matter? Rise up again and go on struggling. Rest assured, you will conquer in the end. Never give up the struggle as long as you are not perfect. That is, as long as you are not what you wish yourself to be. To the question, then where is there any place for individual struggle? Individual struggle leads to surrender. Until that comes, we shall have to struggle. In the lives of sincerely struggling souls, lapses are not signs of forging new samskaras, but of the working out of old ones, for the tying and untying of thread on a reel look alike from a distance. Success depends on sincerity and effort on the part of the disciple. If one is earnest, one need not struggle so much. Diverse thoughts will distract your mind and you will be exasperated. But do not give up the spiritual struggle. If you struggle, you will be able to achieve. This is a time for you to be up and doing, So waste no time. Let not this golden opportunity pass by. If you neglect it now, much will be your repentance in later years. Despondency is the greatest obstacle in spiritual life. It saps energy and destroys your ability to struggle. The self alone is, nothing else exists. Everything is for the self. Means Atman. Everything is for the self, comes out of the self and goes back to the self. The divine soul is sleeping in everyone. It is to be roused. Everyone is always trying to express that self. This struggle is sadhana. In such ordinary matters you act like this, and you are aspiring to knowledge of Brahman. Is it so easy to attain? How keen must be the desire and how long you have to struggle? Then only can you know. Do you understand this secret? First, the desire to know. Then the struggle. And then the success. Cultivate this passion. Look about and contemplate life. Everything is transient and nothing endures. There is birth and death, growth and decay. There is combination and separation. The glory of the world is like a flower. It stands in full bloom in the morning and fades in the heart of the day. It fades in the heat of the day. The glory of the world is like a flower. It stands in full bloom in the morning and fades in the heat of the day. Wherever you look, there is a rushing and a struggling and an eager pursuit of pleasure. There is a panic flight from pain and death, and hot are the flames of burning desires. The world is Vanity Fair, full of changes and transformations. All is samsara, the turning wheel of existence. Is there nothing permanent in the world? Is there in the universal turmoil no resting place where our troubled heart can find peace? Is there nothing everlasting? Oh, that we could have cessation of anxiety, that our burning desires would be extinguished. When shall the mind become tranquil and composed? So, one should have thorough analytical approach and learn the lesson through what is happening in front of us. A question is asked. The realization of God seems to me like swimming the English Channel reserved for the very few. What can the rest of us get out of religion? What can the rest of us get out of religion? The answer was, it may seem that way, but you are absolutely wrong. You see, it is possible for every human being to realize God, and you don't have to have strong muscles. But one very important thing you must have, an earnest desire for that realization. It's a very interesting question and answer session between Swami Prabhavanandaji, one of the great disciples of Brahmanandaji, who was the founder of Hollywood Center, an illumined soul. I had rare opportunity to see him when he came to Madras. I had come to Madras from Bangalore when I was brahmachari to give chanting performance for the centenary program which they were conducting in Madras Math. Why do we see only a few illumined souls? Because only very few desire and seek that illumination. What trouble we go through in order to pass a college examination, or even just to buy a hat. But we don't bring that interest when it comes to praying and meditating. So the main thing is to create the desire for God by reading scriptures, praying to God, chanting His praises. Eventually, there will come a time in your life when you feel that God alone is real and you seek Him and Him only. Then you will find illumination. Next question. Sir, please explain what is meant by purification of the heart and what is the best way to attain it? Swami Prabhupada replied, from a negative standpoint, purity of heart is freedom from lust and greed, freedom from craving for the things of the world. But in its positive aspect, purity means that your heart is filled with divine consciousness. Now the method is to purify the heart is that of concentration and meditation. There are also other means, selfless service, for instance. Another question. Suppose we want to do God's will, how can we be sure what that will is? Answer. Actually, we cannot know in any given situation what God's will is until we become spiritually illumined. Only he who has known God intimately, who lives in his consciousness all the time, can do his will, because his will has become merged in the divine will. Throughout the ages, there have been a few rare souls who live in such a state of union with God. But there are many people who do exactly what they want to do and proclaim that it is God's will. And so, we must analyze ourselves. Are our thoughts and actions selfish or unselfish? All selfishness must be eliminated from our hearts before we can do God's will. In our ignorance, what we can and should do is to follow the teachings of the scriptures and examples of perfected souls. And we can pray, O Lord, I don't know what your will is. Please guide me. May I be a tool in your hand. Question. Can anyone have the vision of God? Answer. Yes. If the following three conditions are fulfilled. 1. Human birth. 2. Longing for God. And 3. The society of the holy. When the first two conditions are met, the third fulfills itself. It is a desire for God which is lacking in us and which we must develop. Whenever Sri Ramakrishna was asked, what is the way to find God? He used to answer, yearn for him with a longing heart. Or he would say, people shed streams of tears because sons are not born to them. Others eat away their hearts in sorrow because they cannot get rich. But how many weep for not having seen God? Very few indeed. Verily, he who seeks the Lord, who weeps for him, attains him. Another question was asked. Sir, I am discouraged about my spiritual life. I don't seem to be making any progress. What shall I do? The answer is very significant. Keep up the struggle. There is no such thing as progress in a straight line. In spiritual life too, there are ups and downs. But there is no failure as long as you make an effort. Swami Brahmanandaji used to give the following illustration. The calf tries to get up on its feet within a very short time of its birth. But it falls down. For 15 minutes, half an hour or 1 hour, the calf tries to get up, but it keeps falling down. Still, it doesn't relinquish the struggle. Later, it not only stands, but begins to run. It's the same in spiritual life. You make a resolution that you will do so much meditation, then laziness gets hold of you. Oh, I will skip it for today. Or restlessness and passion distract you, and all your good intentions are forgotten for the time being. But if you have fallen again, get up. Struggle. Promise yourself, I will try to do better. You will fall many times, but don't give up. That's how we grow. So, the substance of this topic is struggle, struggle, struggle. Struggle earnestly. Then you are sure to reach the abode of God. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna seemed about to say something more. Hirananda and Yam eagerly awaited his words. Sri Ramakrishna said, "Do you understand?" Yam said to Hirananda in a whisper, "The body suffers for the purpose of teaching men. His life is like a book of reference. In spite of so much physical suffering, his mind is 100% united with God." Hirananda said, "Yes, it is like Christ's crucifixion. But still the mystery remains. Why should he, of all people, suffer like this?" Yam said, "The Master says it is the will of the Divine Mother. This is how she is sporting through his body." The two devotees were talking in whispers. Sri Ramakrishna asked Hirananda by a sign what Yam was talking about. Since Hirananda could not understand the sign, Sri Ramakrishna repeated it. Hirananda said, "He says that your illness is for the teaching of men." Master said, "But that's only his guess." To Yam and Hirananda, Sri Ramakrishna said, "My mood is changing. I think that I should not say to everyone, 'May your spiritual consciousness be awakened.' People are so sinful in the Kali Yuga. If I awaken their spiritual consciousness, I shall have to accept the burden of their sins." Yam to Hirananda, "He will not awaken people's spiritual consciousness except at the right time. When a person is ready, he will awaken his spiritual consciousness." It was Good Friday. Hirananda had taken his midday meal at the Kasipur Garden House. About 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he was stroking Sri Ramakrishna's feet. Yam sat nearby. Latu and one or two other devotees were going in and out of the room. It was the Master's earnest desire that Hirananda should stay for some time at the Kasipur Garden House. While massaging the Master's feet, Hirananda conversed with him. He spoke in a very sweet voice, as if trying to console a child. Hirananda said, "Why should you worry so much? You can enjoy peace of mind if you have faith in the physician. You are a child." Master said to him, "How can I have faith in the doctor? Dr. Sarkar said that I would not recover." Hirananda, "But why should you worry so much about that? What is to happen must happen." Yam said to Hirananda aside, "He is not worrying about himself. The preservation of his body is for the welfare of the devotees." It was a sultry day, and the room became very hot at noontime. The straw screens had been hung over the windows. Hirananda adjusted them. The Master looked at him. Master said to Hirananda, "Please don't forget to send the pajamas." Hirananda had told Sri Ramakrishna that he would feel more comfortable if he wore the pajamas used in Sindh. Sri Ramakrishna was reminding him of them. Hirananda had not eaten well. The rice had not been well cooked. The master felt very sorry about it and asked him again and again whether he would have some refreshments. On account of his illness, he could hardly talk, but still he repeated the question. He said to Latu, "Did you too eat that rice? Did you too eat that rice?" Sri Ramakrishna could hardly keep the clothes on his body. He was almost always naked like a child. Hirananda had brought with him one or two of his Brahmo friends. Therefore, every now and then, the master pulled the cloth to his waist. Master said to Hirananda, "Will you take me for an uncivilized person if I don't cover my body with my cloth?" Hirananda said, "What difference that make with you? You are but a child." Master, pointing to a Brahmo devotee, said, "But he feels that way." Hirananda was about to take his leave. In a very few days he was going to start for Sindh. Master said to Hirananda, "Suppose you don't go to Sindh." Hirananda said smilingly, "But there is nobody there to do my work. I have my duties." Master, "How much do you earn?" Hirananda said smilingly, "My work doesn't bring me a large salary." Master, "Still, how much?" Hirananda laughed. Master said, "Why don't you live here?" Hirananda did not reply. Master said, "Suppose you give up the job." Hirananda said nothing. He was ready to take his leave. Master said, "When will you see me again?" Hirananda said, "I shall leave for Sindh on Monday, the day after tomorrow. I shall see you that morning." Hirananda left. Yam was seated by the master's side. Master said to Yam, "He is a fine young man, isn't he?" Yam said, "Yes, sir. He has a very sweet nature." Master, "He said that Sindh is 2200 miles from Calcutta, and he has come all that way to see me." Yam, "True, sir. That would be impossible without real love." Master, "He wants very much to take me to Sindh." Yam, "The journey is very painful. It takes 4 or 5 days by train." Master, "He has 3 university degrees." Yam, "Yes, sir." Sri Ramakrishna was tired. He wanted to take a little rest. He asked Yam to open the shutters of the windows and spread the straw mat over his bed. Yam was fanning him. Sri Ramakrishna became drowsy. After a short nap, Sri Ramakrishna said to Yam, "Did I sleep?" Yam said, "A little." Narendra, Sharat, and Yam were talking downstairs. So stop here. Some announcements. We have special Swami Mahashivratri Puja coming up on February 26th. Begins with evening 6:30 p.m. with bhajans, brief talk, and special worship. We have Sri Ramakrishna's birthday puja on Sunday, March 4th, morning 10:30. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O may mind be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when the instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet, who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.